This is the Conservative American Message, hosted by the one and only Cam Lau. Today's episode is a special treat for you guys. I had the opportunity to interview Stephen Redden from NowTax USA. He's drafted a new plan to change our entire tax system and amend the Constitution. He's got a lot of interesting ideas, and although I don't see eye to eye with him on everything, it's definitely a step up from our current tax code. So without further ado, here's my conversation with Stephen.
Think about this. Could you imagine being in 1976? Of course, I can imagine that. That's when I was in high school. Could you imagine being in 1776? And you're at the table with Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, and a couple of the other guys, Livingston, and they were writing the Declaration of Independence. That's where we're at now, because if you repeal and replace the 16th Amendment, you're actually amending the Declaration of Independence. And let me tell you why. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. What's the pursuit of happiness? It's nebulous. What's your pursuit of happiness? Oh, I like flying kites. Okay, that's what the Constitution meant? No, because back in the day, they were all big followers. Are you familiar with John Locke?
Yeah, yep.
The philosopher, 1600s? Mm-hmm. John Locke, in his second treatise of natural law, he said life, liberty, and estate. You got to remember, back in the day, these guys were all following John Locke. I mean, he was like the Elvis Presley of figuring stuff out. But he said life, liberty, and estate. Estate meaning now property. Property and estate meaning yourself. In other words, you own yourself. And everything you do and make and produce is yours. So the original Constitution, the original Declaration of Independence, and I've written a thesis on this. It's copywritten and it's in the archives. It was supposed to be life, liberty, and estate / property. Ready for this? Individual sovereignty. Because John Locke's definition of estate was individual sovereignty. So could you imagine if if a Declaration of Independence said life, liberty, and individual sovereignty? Would that not change everything today?
Yeah, that's what we need.
Well, hey, guess what you're part of right now? No, right now you're part of a 1776 event. If we can achieve the goal of one, amending the Declaration of Independence to its rightful words, life, liberty, and individual sovereignty, repeal the 16th Amendment, which means we're going to take income taxes and property taxes off the table. So that income, as one anonymous person quoted it, I thought it was Benjamin Franklin, but I know it said, property and income are rights. Rights cannot be taxed. Isn't that profound? This was happening in 1776. How did we go so far afield? You know why? Pursuit of happiness. Wokeism happened in 1776. And you know why that happened? Because back then, property, it meant slavery.
Yeah.
Bing, bang, boom. Here we go. Because some guy couldn't say individual sovereignty because they didn't read the text of John Locke to the point of understanding when he said estate and property, he meant individual sovereignty. They screwed up. Thomas Jefferson screwed up. And they all proved it. You know why? Yeah, we don't want to make everyone mad. Can you believe it?
Yeah. Well, I think everyone agrees that, taxation is theft at its core. I mean, No. Could I stop you? Because I figure our time is precious together. Taxation is not theft. It's how you tax people. You see the difference? Because if you tax income and property and wealth, that's immoral. But if you tax people for their usage of the infrastructure, then that's proper. Here, let me give you an example. Imagine the United States is a super economic highway. It's a toll road. All right. So imagine it's a toll road. When you get on the toll road, like you want to go from point A to point B,
Do you get ticked off and you have to pay 25 cents to go on a toll road? I mean, you could take the long way around and go the country road, right?
Mm-hmm.
You take a shortcut and take the toll road. Are you upset when you have to pay the toll?
Yeah.
No, you're not. No, but are you from New York? Yeah. Oh, that toll road.
Well, see, I'm from rural Iowa, so I don't pay a lot of tolls. So
yeah, but I'm saying if it's quicker to get on the toll road, it saves you 30, 40, 50 minutes or going to country roads.
Yeah.
It's worth your time to get on the toll road. Okay. So that's a proper usage of a taxation because you're getting on something and you're buying something. You're buying the convenience. That's how taxes should be. You're paying for the service. So back to the United States toll road, the economic superhighway, the toll road. It's like, think about it. Millions of people a day, every business, enterprise, and organization gets on that road, right? Mm-hmm. When they get on the road, shouldn't you pay a little something? Pay as you go. What happens when everyone shares the cost of that road, the infrastructure, doesn't the cost get lower?
Yeah.
That's our tax system. The more people that use the infrastructure, the toll road, the cheaper the taxes get. And that's what now tax is about. So now we'll get back to it. So now tax gets back to a broad-based tax system, which makes the tax rate as low as possible, pay as you go. You only pay taxes when you use the toll road. If you don't use the toll road, you don't pay any taxes at all.
So this is all federal tax you're talking about, but how does this impact like the state taxes and your property taxes to your municipality?
All right, good question. Proof in the pudding, right? The old saying. Christy Nome in South Dakota has a broad-based sales tax, which now she's broad and it went from consumer goods to services. Services being like income taxes, advertising agencies, because it's a small state with a small budget. Just by expanding to that level, that base, she was able to eliminate property taxes and income taxes. Proof in the pudding. Isn't that cool? Is that cool? I'm trying not to use explicitives, but isn't that cool? It works. You just got to broaden the base. The broader the base, the lower the tax, the less citizens pay.
So you're saying this is going to increase the revenue, though, of the federal government? We're going to have more money than the current tax system?
Yes. Let me give that to you. Right now, it's called TEST, TESST. That's an acronym for Total Economy of Sales, Services, and Transactions. That's a now tax acronym. We came up with that. The test of the economy right now has never been done. No one knows specifically what the total amount of sales of goods, services, and transactions are in the United States. The best I can estimate is 500 trillion a year. You can hear that number? 500 trillion. Multiply 500 trillion by 1%. What is that?
You got 5 trillion.
5 trillion. What's our average budget? 5 trillion, including the interest payments on the debt. So now imagine you throw in trading stocks and bonds. You know what they estimate that is? Okay, I can't even tell you what that is because it's so embarrassing. But let's just be real conservative. So let's add another 250 trillion because here, I'll give you the number. On average, $500 billion a day are traded on the stock market. Did you hear that number?
Mm-hmm.
Do the math. Is your head exploding?
But so you're going to tax...
That's a quadrillion.
You're going to tax the purchasing and the selling of stocks?
Everything. If you're on the super economic highway of this economy, the toll road, you pay as you go. Everyone, all organizations. Let me tell you, you donate to your favorite charity, you're paying your taxes. You buy lumber for your construction project, you're paying your taxes. You buy a Coke and a candy bar, you're 5-year-old to 105 years old, you're paying your taxes.
But if you buy a stock and don't make any money on that stock, there's no gain there. You're still having to pay a tax just for buying it and then to sell it also. I'm not sure.
Okay, all right, think about it. So why should you, as a profiteer, investing your money or buying stock, rolling the dice, going to Las Vegas, gambling, why should you be exempt from being on the toll road of the super highway, economic highway of the United States? Why should you be exempt from that?
Well, if you lose money, you're not making anything.
Whoa. As another citizen, is it my responsibility to pay for your losses? But what if you win? Do I get money when you win as a citizen?
Well, under our current system, you technically.
No, we don't. If you gain profits, I don't gain. If you're on the stock market, you gained. I didn't gain.
Yeah, but the government takes my money. They take a gain.
Okay. Yes, but they take that at 15%. Would you rather take them at 1%, or would you rather have the capital gains of 15%? Okay, you pay the 15%, I'll pay the 1%. Which would you rather choose?
But this isn't on the gain. This is just any transaction.
Every transaction.
That's just my concern is with all sorts of different things, not just stocks and moving money around. I don't know how far you go with these transactions, but to move your money just doesn't seem right to me.
No. That's if you read the amendment, that's the exception. If you move money inside your own accounts, there's no taxes on those transactions.
But if I move my money from my bank account into a retirement account and buy stock,
no taxes on that.
Okay.
No, individual inside your bubble, like you're a corporation or an individual, if you move money inside your own account, and there might have to be, this is where you have to get legalistic. You might have to get to the point where how many down the line family is the bubble? Is it super grandchildren? Where's the reasonable amount? Which arm's length distance is usually the rule. It's like your children would be exempt from the transaction. No, those are details that I have not worked out, because that's where you got to get into kind of more of the laws. But overall, if it's inside individual accounts, like let's say absolutely corporation, and you transfer money, even if it's subsidiary, I transfer money from my one corporation to another corporation, that's not a taxable event.
Okay.
That's outside. Or if I give you money, you're my son, technically I'd say that's outside the event. Those transactions are exempt.
Okay. You're saying this is going to increase the revenue, though? We're going to have more?
Yeah. Well, here, remember, first of all, total transactions test. Remember the word. Total economy. No one's ever done total economy first, but let's just give you a sidebar. Right now it's GDP, right? With total economy, because what happens every day when you make a deposit, because deposits are not determined, are they income or losses or all that, but you make a raw deposit. That deposit goes into the bank under an SIC code. In other words, every business has an SI, that's a standard industrial code, will go into the bank. So daily, you'll be able to see exactly what every industry, every segment of industry, labor is doing. So now you eliminate GDP, and instead of waiting for the GDP report, every day you can go online and go, oh, geez, automobile sales were up 100%. Oh, look, tomorrow, auto sales are down 50%. Just like the stock market, you're going to be able to see the economy from using the test. So the question was, help me here because I got off the rail.
Well, so I'm just wondering if you're going to give more money to the federal government ultimately.
Yeah, that was your question. Oh, no, let's do part one and part two. I know where your question is going. So part one is, if the total economy, let's just say conservatively, is $750 trillion, at 1%, that's $7.5 trillion. On average of a $5 trillion budget back when it was normal, you'd have $5 trillion paid off. So, which means Social Security, Medicare is secure, guaranteed. Then you have $2.5 trillion to start addressing the national debt.
But how do you ensure that that's what they're going to do with that money?
Okay,
will they not just inflate the bureaucracy? All
right, let's get to part one first. Part one is get the tax oppression off the back of citizens. Part two is addressing spending, because taxing has nothing to do with spending. You get that, right? So that's another whole set. But we've set the stage to control spending, haven't we? At least we're taking control of our own personal wealth.
I guess you're at least at bare minimum getting ahead of their budget, so they're not going to be able to inflate quite as fast.
Well,
I mean, they'll have them.
In my opinion, I propose a cap of $5 trillion a year.
Okay.
In my opinion, I try to throw. I know that's not realistic to throw that in there, but at least put that in there just in case some responsible people showed up.
So, I'm thinking about this, and do you think a lot of these costs so say a factory has to buy a bunch of material or whatever, and they pay a 1% tax on that, but that cost is just going to get passed on to the consumer ultimately. So
Absolutely.
Is that going to affect the middle and lower class harder, more harsh than our current tax system?
All right. No, you got 3 questions there in one. Okay. Let's start with the first question. It's called tax pyramiding. Okay. The pyramid scheme. But if you take, there's 5 steps in manufacturing. And I'll give it to you. It's like raw materials, wholesale, manufacturing, distribution, and then retail, right? 5 steps. If you take 1% and you do the math on it, it only equals total 3%. So the cost of goods, if that happened, would only be 3%. So, but if you took, would you rather have, as a consumer, a 3% impact to goods, or would you rather pay taxes? If you're a taxpayer, if you're not a taxpayer, you don't care. But if you're a taxpayer, or would you rather pay the average 15% to the actual max, whatever, 30-something percent? You see the offset there? Plus, the other offset is you're no longer going to have withholdings. You're no longer have the 7% matching Social Security. So you look at your offsets. So your offsets are probably another 500 billion to $1 trillion. So your offsets do compensate for that 3% to probably bring it back down to 2%. So it becomes nominal. And what if I'm wrong on my math and the total economy test is larger and the tax rate is actually isn't 1%, but say it's 0.75%. But here's the other side of it. Don't we sooner or later have to pay our bills? I mean, sooner or later, don't we have to pay our debt? Mm-hmm. So how are we going to manage our debt if we don't even address it?
Yeah, because right now there's absolutely no plan. I mean, they have nothing going on.
Now there is a plan. Now tax. It's a broad-based consumer. Now there is a plan. Now, whether the public, the Congress, the Senate, whoever they are, I call them they, if they don't want to address the problem, they have a solution. It's like, and I hate to say it like this, but when now tax, broad-based tax system is the E equals the MC square of taxes. This is the final solution. We're going to do this sooner or later. What the fear is, they're going to do this on top of our income taxes. Why don't we just clean the slate, find out what the rate is, and just let's lay it on everybody, go, this is what we owe and this is what we got to pay.
So how do you foresee this system being put into place practically?
Okay, you want to talk about infrastructure or you want to talk about political?
Well, politically, I mean, how is this going to get passed and repealed?
Well, let's do the
constitutional amendment.
Let's do the easy part first. The easy part is the infrastructure is already in place. It's called banking system. You make a deposit. Let's say you make a deposit from your podcast advertisers, and say it's $1,000. You pay $1,010 because that's the 1%, right? Mm-hmm. And you have an SIC code that says podcast. I don't know what the SIC code is for podcast, but do you know what SIC codes are? Are you familiar with that?
No.
Every industry has a standard industry code.
Okay. Yeah.
Everyone knows it, but they don't know. So podcasters have a code. I don't know what the code. I probably should look it up. So when you make a deposit, say your SIC code, you got your check from your one of your vendors, your advertiser, guys that are paying you, and you charge them $1,000 for the fee and $10 for the government. So now it's $1,010. You make a deposit automatically. Boom. goes right to the feds. Cash system, pay as you go. No more late taxes, no more penalties, no more late fees, no more forms, no more filings, no more incarcerations, no more tax courts. It is the largest single deregulation of the federal government in history. Think about that. Eliminating 6,871 pages of code to one page, 740 words, the Now Tax code. Biggest, see, that's what I'm telling you. You're at a 1776, and I'll tell you why, because I've been on 2 or 3 national shows, but you are the third podcaster. You're on ground zero of 1776. By you being part of this right now, think you're signing the Declaration of Independence by you being here with me now. Unless you go, I denounce this guy.
No, I think this idea is absolutely phenomenal.
Hey.
I just had to ask some questions and challenge you a little bit just to make sure I understood it all.
Oh man, give me the next tough question.
But yeah.
Politically.
Yes.
Politically. You ready for this? How many people do you think hate paying income taxes and property taxes? Give me a percentage.
100%.
All right. How many congressmen and senators feel the same way?
I don't know about that. That's a harder one to measure.
Yeah, but you gotta say there's more than less.
There's definitely less.
No, what I'm saying, there's more that hate paying income taxes and property taxes than less, right?
Yeah.
So we already have the majority on our side. Whether you're Democrat, Republican, Independent, Libertarian, or an IRS agent, or even an accountant, you'd have to admit they agree that I hate paying income taxes and property taxes. Do you pay property? Let me ask you, do you pay property taxes right now?
Yep.
Does it make you just angrier than anger?
And it just goes up and up.
Is there any anger? I pay a substantial amount of property taxes. That makes me so angry because I'm getting nothing for my taxes. I am literally getting nothing. I don't do anything. I travel to my, I'm retired. I'm in a home. I travel to the store and back, and that's it. What am I getting for my property taxes? I mean, I don't have a fire department. I'm safe. I keep my house safe. I don't have a police department. So I'm paying for every other guy's problem when I pay for property taxes. So yes, you see how angry tax. I try to stay away from the anger side of taxes, which would see the interview with Carl Higbee. Did you see?
Yes.
He went on the anger path.
Yeah.
I try to stay on the practical path.
So do you have any legislators or any political leaders that are interested in this yet, or what's your plan to go forward with that?
I do unofficially. Officially, I do not. But let me tell you, our plan is grassroots first. You know what our second plan is? Going to the top. You know what the top is? Talking to people like you. We have to build a movement. So the plan is go to the top first. And the top is as much media as possible, as much PR as possible, and grassroots on the bottom. That's our plan. Because my theory is, and I've had several political congressmen, senator guys say they want to sponsor the bill. I'm going, no. I don't want you to, just go into the graveyard of bills that died?
Mm-hmm.
No. When our bill goes, it's going with millions of people behind it. Now, this is our revolution. And it's not a bad revolution. It's a good revolution because we fund the government fully. We fund everything. No one gets shorted. We're not screwing anybody. It's a win. It's like the win-win-win situation.
Well, I just want to say, lastly here, where can people go to learn more about Now Tax, your website, or any other resources, and how can we get involved at the grassroots level?
Well, first of all, it's nowtaxusa.com. And right now, my big push is on Twitter right now, at nowtax.com, at nowtaxusa, at nowtaxusa is my Twitter. And we're doing real good on Twitter. And I don't know if Twitter's the best place to be, but we're a grassroots organization. We're self-funded, so we don't have a lot of money. So everything we do is, just through word of mouth. And honestly, I believe a good idea is sold by word of mouth. It's not sold by money or cash. And if the idea is not worth selling, word of mouth, it's not worth doing. So.
Well, hey, I appreciate you joining me today. This has been a great conversation, and I hope that I can do my part to spread the word, and we can have our 1776 all over again.
Hey, man, that's great.
That was my conversation with Stephen Redden from Now Tax USA. Thanks for listening, guys. I really appreciate you all. Have a great week and stay conservative.